Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is your fave nurse Ann. Today we have a special guest with us today. It is my brother, Lindsay. He is a paramedic and he's going to tell us all about what it is that he actually does. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, I'm Lindsay. I'm from Boston. I'm about 33 years old now. I have about 13 years of emergency medicine experience. I'm also a respiratory therapist in a top Boston hospital. And I also work at a children's rehab.
Sounds great. So today on the show, we're going to talk about his paramedic years of experience. Years of experience. And he is going to tell us about all the things that he does. So first, I know a lot of people that's watching this may not even know what is a paramedic. So would you like to explain to us what is a paramedic?
Basically, a paramedic is a trained professional that's licensed in emergency medicine to respond to emergencies. It could be a different range or a variety of emergencies. It could be traumas, traumatic injuries. It could be medical injuries like heart attacks, overdoses, and it could be psychological or behavioral emergencies as well.
Yeah. I know from my experience of working in the ED, I know the paramedics were so important just because they would tell us in advance what's going on so we can prep for the patient to come in and we know what to do, what assessments that we have to do. For instance, if it's a stroke, there's a whole protocol of the things that we have to do, and the paramedics are usually on the phone telling us, this patient's 33 years old, so-and-so, this history, that, and they give us the whole report on what we had to just prepare for in the hospital. So paramedics are really important just because you guys are the first responders. You know, they are essentially the doctors out there trying to stabilize the patient, and a lot of people don't know what they actually do, and it's amazing to see that, you know, someone doesn't get enough credit for it.
Right.
Yeah, so what academically do you need to become a paramedic?
So all you need is a high school diploma. It's really not that difficult, but you do need a little bit of an experience as an EMT for most paramedic programs. You would need to be an EMT first with a little bit of experience behind that in order to be accepted into paramedic programs, because it's more like, you know, you seek them out. Sometimes they're in colleges. My schooling that I went to was through a private program, and it wasn't necessarily through a university. But there are out there. The programs are, you know, maybe 1 to 2 years long, and it requires really extensive, intensive training.
Yeah.
Because you come out of paramedic school with so many skills, skills to place IVs, intubate, do needle decompressions, these really, all these are medical terms for fancy or invasive medical procedures.
Yeah.
So you really come out skilled. It takes about 2 years, but you really need to focus on your schooling during those 2 years. It was hard to maintain a job because it was just such an intense training. Because when it comes to emergencies, the paramedic is usually the highest level of a medical professional on the scene. So you really have to take control of the situation
Yeah.
of whatever's like in front of you.
Yeah, I can only imagine that you would just have to be really a quick thinker.
Right.
You have to know what to do at that given time to
Right.
have the best outcome for the patient.
Right.
And I can't even imagine the kind of stress that a paramedic has to go through in order, if you're seeing a patient that is not doing well and declining, what is it? Like, what skills did you have to learn in order to really stabilize this patient? Is it going to risk them or is it going to benefit them? And I can't even imagine how the decision happens while doing these things. But that's impressive though, because like I said, they're the first responders. They're on the scene. They have to make sure that this patient is stabilized, which is so impressive, and it's so beneficial because we need paramedics out there. We need more paramedics, if anything. And it's just amazing what you do.
Thank you.
My next question would be, what advice would you give to people who are interested in becoming a paramedic?
Anyone interested in becoming a paramedic, I would tell them, it's a great career path, especially if it's your like introduction to healthcare. It makes for a great stepping stone into other healthcare professionals in the field. Regardless of what degree you already have, if you want to take, if you want to aim to be a doctor, to be a nurse, a respiratory therapist, even, it's a great advantage that you have into the healthcare industry compared to people that don't have that background or experience, that are just getting to where they're at.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a great stepping stone into the medical field.
Yeah. I can only imagine that it probably requires a lot of studying,
Right.
clinical hours. I remember the paramedic students would come into the ED and get all their IV assessments done, their training.
And all their skills.
All their skills.
The
IVs.
You need a certain number of skills checked off in order to even graduate and become a paramedic. Skills that you would need to you need to get during your clinical hours. And you need a certain number of clinical hours. I think it's about 200, 250 maybe.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
But you need to make time for that. Regardless of what other responsibilities you have. You have a child at home, a wife and a family, a side job. Like, you kind of need to make time for, the intense training that they put you through.
Yeah. It's all about sacrifice too, with any profession. If you're trying to be a paramedic, whether you want to be a nurse, whether you want to become an MD, PA, it's all about sacrifice. You pick and choose what's worth it. And I think with being a paramedic too, that it's something that you just need to dedicate and focus in on, and know that this is my goal and this is what I'm going to go for, and just know that this has a bigger purpose later down the road. But thank you so much for letting us talk to you about being a paramedic. And I'm so happy that you came here and told us about it, because I feel like a lot of people don't know what your role is, how you are the first responder, and it's just amazing to me how people don't talk about becoming a paramedic more often, just because we need them. They're so important. And
I wish they paid us like we were important.
Yeah, I mean, I would write a petition. I'll be the first one to sign. Because listen, without a paramedic, most of these patients that would come through our doors would not be alive, because the paramedic stabilized them. The paramedic had IV fluids going in them and making sure, or even just doing resuscitation and saving them, and potentially, going to
the ICU.
Going
home.
Exactly. So, like I said, being a paramedic is a great field. It's a great foundation, great stepping stone into the healthcare. Or you can just be a paramedic just for a career, because I feel like it's so rewarding.
Yeah, there's different things you could do with it for sure. You could become a firefighter. There's a lot of fire departments that will hire paramedics as they're trained professionals in it.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for talking to us about being a paramedic. And please, everyone, do not forget to subscribe, and like the video, comment below, and tell us how you feel about being a paramedic.
For sure.
Bye, y'all.